Hi everyone, my name's Electric Donkey, and today we are once again back on a No Man's Sky type video we have going. So if you remember, in the last video we spent quite a long time working on this database here, only to find that it didn't really work. Now I don't know what on earth I was doing last week, because looking back on this it's pretty appalling. So I'm going to try and go through and document every single issue we had, so you can go and correct them in your own. So first off, in the actual script database, so one thing that I did do wrong is I forgot to add the +1 onto these bits here. Secondly, something that was rather big that I spent quite a long time trying to figure out why it was going wrong was we'd forgotten to put our accessors in here. Very important stuff there, to put them in. Also, this bit here was just all completely wrong, so I had to redo that. You know, they were kind of close, but just not really that good. So the first one is still a for loop, but this time we'll just change this to the grid width. Then in here, what it's going to do is it's going to say is if. Well, it's actually quite similar. If what we've got in one of these slots matches up to our input there, then we're going to return the background, or the ID even, which is that one there. So that was pretty similar to before. This one was quite different though, because this used to be a for loop, and then I went through and realised that if we know the ID and we're changing it to a background, all we have to do is check to see if our input equals this ID number here or there. Then if it does, we're going to return that top bit there, so the background. So that was pretty straightforward, I think, once I found out what was going wrong. That's all that bit working. You probably want to pause and check you've got all that the same. In the object player, however, there was quite a few more issues, mainly in this, well, in fact in this mining bit. So this bit was all alright, and it started to get pretty dodgy around in here. So first off, you had this bit right at the top. It was up about like here. Now that was completely wrong, because once I'd done this was a debug thing. In here we had this, but we had, instead of having that, we had tile. Now the thing wrong with that is the tile is an actual background identifier for that individual one. That's not the actual background name. Now to get the actual background name, you need this, and that's what we need for our database, otherwise it won't work. So that's why that came into play. Now this was before then, up here, and what the problem with that was is it meant that we did that, but then before we picked up the item, it was already set back to air, so I had to move that underneath to there. But once you've done all that, you've jumbled some stuff around and changed that to the tile over to that, which makes sense. You know, I don't know what I was doing last week when I'd made that. You should get something that runs and works a little bit like I'm going to show you here. So you drop into a planet and you go ahead and mine something, and you know it just disappears for the time being. But you go into your inventory and you can see there 1 and the way we can check it's working, in fact, is we can go to our database. We can see there, if we take for dirt, which is 0, add 1, what's it going to be? It's going to be 1. So you can see there the ID there is 1. Let's try wood. So the ID there is 1 plus 1 is going to be 2. So if we mine this wood, we should have 1 1, yep, and 2 1. Let's try mine another piece of wood, and you'll be able to see that now we have 2 2s. Okay, so for the time being, that's pretty straightforward, I'd say. You know, there was a few major changes there, but other than that, once you got there, it's pretty good. But we don't want it to be an ID, you know, we want it to be a little bit nicer. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another one in here. So it's going to be, once again, exactly the same as before, but this time it's going to be 2, and it's going to equal the name. So in this case, it's going to be dirt. Okay, we're going to copy this and do the same for the wood. Oops. That's going to be wood, and this is going to be the user-friendly kind of name. So to get the user-friendly name, we're going to need an ID. So we're going to make another one of these cases. I'm going to say case name. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to say if, and this is in fact going to be exactly the same as that. So we could just copy that bit there. Basically, if our ID matches up to, well, if the ID of the 0, in fact I want it to be 2. So if the ID that we've specified on the name is not 0, then we're just going to return it. So in fact it is exactly the same as that, but just change those zeros to 2s, like that. And don't forget your little break there at the bottom. So now we can go ahead and use this in the inventory. So instead, in the draw GUI, instead, oops, I've closed that down by accident. Instead of saying draw text in this thing, this horrible thing here, we're then going to use script db name, and what this will do is it will convert our ugly ID into a nice little name for us. Let's just copy that bit there and paste that into there as well. Okay, so now if we give this a run, now when we mine dirt, it should come up in our inventory as dirt instead of 1, and our wood should come up as wood instead of 2. Fingers crossed, of course. So let's mine a bit of wood, and there you can see we do have wood. Problem being, we've obviously accidentally set that the amount to also equal that, so let's just go and quickly rectify that. So that would be in draw GUI, somewhere in here. I think it's probably this one. Yeah, we just want that to be that. We don't want to run that through the database because that comes up with some weird things. But if we do that, then we should get some nice looking inventory. Well, you know, nice as we can do. So you can see there, dirt 1. Let's mine another dirt. That'll go up. So now we've got 2 dirt. Mine a bit of wood. We've now got 2 dirt, 1 wood. You know, this is starting to be, you know, it's starting to come together a little bit. So that's going to be it for this video. We've done a few bits in here. I realise we're kind of going a little bit off track of the whole No Man's Sky type theme. So what I'm going to do in the next one is I'm going to attempt to do something a bit different. So in the latest No Man's Sky update, they've added vehicles. You know, a bit interesting, but we're gonna try and do some vehicles, and in fact this is something that I've never really done before in a GameMaker game, to make some sort of vehicle, but we're gonna give it a go nonetheless. As I say, there, it's gonna be a go. If it doesn't work perfectly or work at all, then you know, that's just a little test that I was doing. But anyway, if you liked this video, remember to like, subscribe, or do you guys want to do, and I will once again talk to you in the next one.